Welcome back again for another video. Welcome back to the channel where chaos and insanity will always reign supreme. So we're back again for another video. This time around, kind of a toy haul, kind of an unbox. So this past week, weekend, been doing some running around. I have a major, ginormous box right behind me because I'm actually shipping out one of my proton packs. I felt it was time to make some room. And also, I needed to free up some funds for a project happening in the future. So, you gotta do what you gotta do. So, bought a bunch of packing supplies for the prop that I'm actually shipping out, the Proton Pack. But, we're here to talk about what I picked up this weekend. Now, if you guys have been following the channel, I've loved the What If series. Only one problem. I have not been able to find any of the What If figures. I was able to find Zombie Hunter Peter at a Best Buy, but there was no other figures. And he only had one of these, so I grabbed it when I could. Today, one such find. I was at a Walmart, and they had another What If figure, so they only had just the one. Just the one What If figure, and they did not have multiples of this figure. So I said, if I don't grab it, I might not come across it. So I said, pull the trigger. I pulled the trigger. We got T'Challa Star-Lord. Okay. Now, I've heard some criticisms about the helmet head, and we're gonna explore this in a separate video. But I love the color scheme on here. I thought this was pretty badass. I think it's a pretty good testament to, the Black Panther legacy. So, we grabbed him. The only problem is, we have 7 figures in that series. So, 2 down, 5 more to go. I'm not too sure how I'm going to get the other ones. Initially, I was like, well, I don't know if I want to watch or build a figure. Maybe I'll get 1 or 2 of the figures. But, I've seen the Zombie Cap. I really want to get him. I got to get the Doctor Strange, and I think even Captain Carter deserves a pickup, and so does Sylvie. And if you're going to go that far, might as well go all the way to do the Build-A-Figure for the Watcher with Nebula as well. So, we got this. We're going to do a separate video on this guy. However, I also picked up this guy. Gold label Azrael Batman armor from the DC Multiverse collection by McFarland Toys. He looks so friggin' badass in this. That's right, gold label version of him. I picked him up at my local Walmart. So, just taking a look at the box here. I mean, that is a very badass broadsword here. I mean, I dare say that he's competition for the other armored Batman. We're going to do a little comparison with that in a little bit. But take a look at this. I mean, he looks very massive, very sick, if I do say so myself. Of course, we get our usual branding on the sides. There we go. Again, I wish they would, what I personally wish is they would give us a QR code that we could scan these images. So maybe you can take that image and get it printed out so you can hang it up on your wall at home. That would be something pretty cool. Like you get a special, legal, copyrighted image like this, and maybe you can take it to a Walgreens or some graphics printer so you can get it printed out in a paper format. Or if DC wants to control it, allow the QR code so maybe you can submit an order where the customer is paying maybe $5 plus the shipping for you to send out the poster so they can hang it up. Doesn't have to be a full massive poster. Could be some 14 by something dimension poster, something like a mini poster that you can hang up on your wall because you're a big comic book fan. I mean, that would be something pretty cool, I think. I mean, you have all the social medias for McFarland Toys right there. Why not just take that extra step forward, guys? Just a thought, just a theory. So let's do some nice comparisons here. But first, let's open him up. Okay, so I don't know where my bat knife is, so I'm going to be using a nice little hobby knife here, being very careful. You guys know me, I am an out-of-box collector, so No saving this. Now, they got quite a bit of little plastic zip ties on here, holding him down. We got some tape, actually. That's different. Tape at the bottom. Of course, I am being as careful as I possibly can. Now, there's a lot of times I like to put some ties around the neck or the torso. I am not seeing anything this time around. Don't think we do. So let's put the cap back onto the hobby knife. Safety first. And let me just pause you guys for a quick second. Okay, so we got him out of the package. Of course, as always, McFarland likes that. They do give us a little stand and a little trader card right there. I'm going to grab that in just a second for you guys. Okay, so I got the card out. Now, those stands are okay, but lately I've been using these NECA stands for the DC and also the Marvel characters because it's a nice, good platform. If you have some accessories, they work perfect, okay? Now, let's take a look at the card. And let's take a look at the back. If you guys want, you can actually freeze the video so you can read it. And there we go. So, let's go back to the main screen here. Give you guys a better view. So we have War Veteran Knights of the Order of St. Dumas, or Dumas. And now the Joker, a key recruit in the crusade against Batman. Azrael is the Dark Knight, a most powerful new threat, and the one living link to the devastating secret about the Wayne family's legacy in Gotham. In an effort to overthrow Batman, Azrael dons an armored batsuit of his own and threatens to take control of the city. Now, if you guys, any of the old school fans out there, you might recall back in the 90s there was the Nightfall series. That was where, after Bane broke Bruce Wayne's back as Batman, there needed to be a Batman to watch over the city. So Batman had recruited Azrael, and he wore his own variation of a suit, which this does not truly resemble in any shape or form. The Azrael had a full covered mask, and a lot of people didn't know that he was any different. They just thought Batman was wearing a different mask. There's a few people who knew, like Tim Drake, obviously, who was the Robin of the time. Superman didn't, out of respect, never peeked past the mask, but I'm sure he knew, or who knows, it might have been lead lined. I can't recall the exact details because that was a long time ago. So, here we have Azrael. Now, of course, if you've had a McFarland figure, we're going to have the same specs, the same kind of posability and joints that you always do. Now, the sculpt on this is very badass, okay? The molded sculpt of the armor that goes down the front towards the abdomen area. These are actually two different sculpts. We can actually see that. Let me give you guys a better overview right there. So we can see the rotation and change right there. The utility belt on him is pretty badass. Compartments to go all the way around. And of course he's got his little compartments around his leg here. Now this piece, I think it could slide off with enough pressure, but we don't want to do that. But you have your basic joints here. Now, I am happy to report that these feet, the ankle joints, do not feel that bad. On some of the McFarlane figures, especially the Green Lantern, and even the Batman Animated Series Batman, the ankle joints were a little loose. There is one problem I have here. His ankle, literally his leg and his foot, there's a big massive ball joint, almost make it look like he's robotic. That's my only real gripe about that, but I mean, take a look at the detail of his gauntlet here. Let me see if I can get a focus here. Let me see if I can get focus better there. I mean, the detail on that is just tremendously sick. I love the detail on here. I love the detail on the mask. I mean, this arm feels a little loose, feels a little loose when you move it around. The right arm feels a little bit just a hair bit stiffer. We have more of the red, almost Batman Beyond-esque, but not truly Batman Beyond-esque bat symbol, of course. Kind of gives a Batwoman, Batman Beyond vibe, but it is a little different. Now the back, we have these ridges coming right out of the back of his neck. I guess additional armor, so if someone's trying to stab him from behind, they're going to have trouble getting through there. I love the bat shoulder armor here. Let me see if I can get a better look. Let's just move it up to the main camera there. You can see that bat-like cowl, like the ear points right there. I mean, this is just tremendous. Now, personally, if you're a modder, if you're good with paint applications, I think a black wash on here would be tremendous. Now, again, they don't give us any extra hands, which is always something that, I don't know, just kind of throws me off a little bit because so many other manufacturers out there do. But the detail on here, I mean, the rivet joint, the rivets mold right there, the blades on his gauntlet. I mean, now this is a rubber cape, obviously. This is soft plastic. It's not proper soft goods. But hey, it doesn't have to be. We get the nice little bend here. Now, if it does bend out of place, maybe applying a little bit, and I say a little bit of heat, might help with repositioning it. Like if you have it bent and folded over for a long period of time, and it doesn't go back, maybe just applying hot, hair dryer on low. If you have some issues, I think that may be something good. There is some lines on the back here. If you look really close, you can kind of see that. I'm just gonna, if anyone says anything, I'm just gonna chalk it up to battle damage. I mean, nothing's gonna be 100% perfect. Let's check posability. How well does he stand upright? Now, mind you, I have a soft desk mat right here. He's not that great standing up on a soft surface. Let's try him on a flat surface. He is a bit top heavy. And this cape is not doing him justice, so let's give him a nice little neck stand to stabilize thereupon. Now, he feels actually loose. The peg hole on him feels loose as far as the neck stand. So I'm going to have some time. I might have a little bit of trouble getting him to pose right. Now, he does come with a very cool broadsword. I mean, there we go. St. Dumas. I love the look of this. The sword is a very cool prop that they have. Now, obviously, only one of his hands can actually hold the sword, and that's going to be or at least I'm trying to get the right hand to hold it. The fingers on here might be a little bit. You might have some trouble getting it. I don't want to damage the damn sword, but there we go. So I am able to get him to hold it up like that. Okay, but maybe we want him to, hold this downward, because for a pose, that may help you with getting him to stabilize. I guess that is one thing you could kind of do. The sword is kind of like, if he tips forward, the sword's going to hold him up. See? I mean, that's the thing you could do. I mean, obviously, anytime you got a character and he has a sword, you want to do like some kind of like he's pointing at you, or he's raising the sword up to lead a charge. That's kind of like the cool stuff that, I mean, personally, that's what I kind of like. I mean, something like this looks badass. Or let's say he's maybe pointing towards you, trying to lead the charge. I really like the figure. I think he's very badass. Again, it's one of those things where I think it's the joints. Maybe I have to play with him a little bit, but we can obviously see the joint pieces are two pieces joined together right there. I just kind of have to push it in together. You shouldn't have to be doing that. So I am going to grade this down just a little bit. I mean, it is a very badass figure. I do have some thoughts on some possible paint mods here, especially with the sword. I would love to do some red, some blood red on there. Now, he's not the only armored Batman suit out there. Let's do a nice little comparison between these two. Now, mind you, this gold Batman is kneeling right now. I think this is the Hellbent Batman. Let's see how the two actually compare side by side. We're going to unpose him and have him standing right next to each other. Obviously, height-wise, they're about the same. But I think in a battle, if it came down to it, I think our Hellbent Batman would take Azrael in a fight with all the armor that he has. I mean, it's armor on top of armor. Now, let's say we take Batman out of this armor. He's just in a regular bat suit. I think it's going to be a very close fight. I mean, this Azrael is ready to take on anything and everything that the Bat family can throw at him, basically. And what's worse than an enemy? An enemy who's fighting for a cause, right? And that's what we got right here. Definitely like the look on here. I just think that anyone who's really good at making like a black wash, I think that would add dimensions to this. No pun intended. I think that would add a ton of dimension to the suit itself. I just wish that they could have done something to maybe cover up the ankles. Because it really looks really... I can't recall the last time I've seen anything like that. I mean, yes, we can kind of see the joints here on the Hellbent. But that looks like part of the armor. This, I mean, if he had robotic legs, I could kind of consent to that. But I mean, it's a small gripe. It is. I'll be honest. It's a small gripe. But this figure, I got him for, I think it was $19.99. I definitely think he's worth the money. It's just that there's a few gripes. I mean, with the McFarland figures, we have seen a few hit and misses, as it were. We've seen a few things that they could have done better. But let's face it, no figure out there, no collectible out there is 100% perfect. No figure or collectible out there will ever be 100% perfect. But, I mean, like, with the Hellbent, he's got his gripes, too. Like, his wing pops off, or he's a little heavy at times. You know, I mean, some figures, they take up so much space. I mean, like, take a look at the wingspan on him. I have to always try to condense his wings down so I can fold him and have him on display with other figures. Azrael, it's just that he's a little top heavy. You just gotta make sure you have a nice stable shelf. You know, obviously with something like this, I can have it where, I think for display purposes, it'd be better if I had the sword downwards like that, because you can see the crucifix and the saint on the cross. But that's going to be tricky because of the way his hand is. There we go. Got it in there. And the arms, you have limited movability. Now, instead of a soft plastic on here, this is a hard plastic. So that's something a little different. It's going to be kind of hard for... Yeah, it's going to be... With the posing is going to be a little difficult. Now, if I can get it where he is maybe bending down or kneeling. Yeah, if I could do it where he was kneeling, like a knight would. I think a pose like that. I just gotta straighten out his leg just a wee bit. And there we go. Let me just position that just a little bit different. Maybe have kind of put his head down a little bit. Arm to the side. Just a pose like that, I think, would be really good. Having him kind of kneeling, like he's bowing before a master or from a higher up. He's got his sword, kind of bending the knee, as it were. That's probably going to be a pose that I'll probably go with. It just depends on how stable he is on the shelf with the other Batman. But I really love this figure. Gripes aside, I'd say he's going to be, I'm going to say 8.5 out of 10. 8.5. He could be, now, if anyone does the black wash, I would really love to see your result on him. I think the black wash will really add a new dimension to it. And I could see a few blood splatters, maybe some splatters on the cape or on the armor from him attacking his foes, leaving no quota, having no survivors, taking no prisoners, as it were. I think something like that would be really cool. I did just notice one thing: some of the spikes on here are bent on here. I'm gonna try and bend them back. I don't know how well that will work. Maybe I'll have to do a little bit of heat. I don't know if that's part of the design. I want to say no, but what do I mean? I mean that right there. That does not look that great. I'm talking about the rear one, not the front one, but the rear one just looks a little janky right there. Again, this is a great figure. I think it's a great display figure. I wish the arm had a little bit more posability, where maybe he could do a move where he's holding both hands to hold a sword right in front of him. There's not a way to do this with the arms, unfortunately. That aside, I mean, for the most part, you're going to do a lot of poses where he's battling someone, so you don't need that posability. But it would be nice to have. It just would be nice to have here. But all in all, like I said, 8.5, 8.5 on this guy. It's a good figure. Just wish there was a little bit more posability. Just a few little things here. And again, you may have to play around with the posing here. I'm still going to use a display. A little display stand right here. We'll still use that to try and give him a little bit more balance. And I'll have to play around with this a little bit. That's the one thing with some of the McFarland figures. Some of them are amazing when it comes to posing. Like this guy, I can pose him without a stand. Let's get him on a flat surface and not that well, normally I can pose him without an issue, but you guys get what I'm saying. Again, I mean, it all depends. It all depends on your display spot, the stability of the shelf itself. I mean, that's going to be your key point. As you can see, I tend to pack a lot of figures on my shelves. I had to find a spot for him, but I saw him in the store, and I said I cannot pass him up. I just couldn't. I cannot pass this guy up for anything because I don't have an Azrael figure. Whoa. Yeah. Knee joints are a little bit to be desired. And like I said, he is a bit top heavy. I'm going to have to play around with him a little bit to figure out posing. But like I said, all in all, 8.5, good figure for $19.99. It's definitely, if you're a Batman fan, you definitely have to hop on it. Again, I will say this, I have to admit this, they need to ease up on all the Batman. It's great that Batman deals a lot with, Batman comics deal a lot with multiverse. That's great, guys. But maybe give us some other stuff. I mean, hell, even a Booster Gold, or, you're diving into some of the Green Lanterns. That's great. We're getting a new Wonder Woman. That's great. But there's so many heroes out there. Give us a Static, And we're really, I mean, why not give us a Static Shock? Give us, I don't know if McFarlane has done a CW Black Lightning. I mean, there's a lot they can do with the CW universe. I mean, where's our Clark, our Superman and Lois figure of Superman? I can't even recall them recently doing a Supergirl from the CW universe. I mean, there's so much there that they can do. I mean, they could have dived into the Titans TV show, give us some of those figures. Who knows? This is probably all coming through the pipeline, but they're shoving the Batman figures down our throats here. Okay, I get that McFarlane is a big... when he was with Marvel, he was all about Spider-Man. I get that. He's done stuff with Batman, and he loves Batman, but stop shoving it down our throats. Okay? There's so much more that they can do with this. I mean, they could even give us Doom Patrol figures, and we would love it. We would jump on it. They're just not doing that. And I think that's partly why Marvel is still ahead of the game when it comes between the battle of DC versus Marvel, especially when it comes to the figures. A lot of the sculpts on these DC figures are tremendous. They're amazing. Some of the joints, especially when it comes to the legs and the ankles, are to be desired. But at least with, for example, okay, they're giving us a what-if wave. We can see the figures that are in that wave. Yes, it is a Build-A-Figure, but regardless, look at how many different characters we're getting. We're getting a Spider-Man. We're getting a Captain Carter. We're getting a T'Challa Star-Lord. We're getting a version of Nebula. We're getting Sylvie, who's not even part of this what-if series. She's part of the Loki series, but they still threw her in. This is a nice healthy balance that they're giving us right here, guys. McFarlane, I get that you love Batman. Who doesn't love Batman? I'm a big Batman fan, but you know what? Ease up on it. Give us some other stuff. There's so many damn heroes in the DC universe that you could open up with. Okay? You can even do a nice little correlation. Maybe release some figures, some versions of characters from the DC Universe Online multi-platform game. DC Universe Online is a video game, and an online open world game that's been around for, I think, 11 or 12 years now, where you can design your own characters. I mean, they could give us some of the versions of the characters that appear, the designs that appear in that video game, or they could even open up other possible marketing areas with that. There's a lot McFarlane can do. And let's face it, McFarlane's all over the place. They do Mortal Kombat, they do Spawn, they do a lot of other items. They've done, I think McFarlane's even done a few cinematic figures. I think they've done Crow and a few others. There's so much more. There's so many heroes in the DC universe. It's not just Superman and Batman and Green Lantern and, occasionally Wonder Woman and Aquaman. Give us more. There's a lot more out there. Hell, those of us who were cartoon fans, Teen Titans, not Teen Titans Go, don't get me started on that one, but Teen Titans, you could do that. I mean, we would go for a Slade, we would go for a Robin, we would go for Cyborg and Beast Boy and Raven, we would go for those. Personally, I would love to see McFarlane tackle the Titans TV show. I would love to see him tackle those figures. I think it would be tremendous, especially his take on Red Hood, but yes, Red Hood's already Batman, I get that, but I mean, give us a little bit of variety. I mean, that version of Scarecrow is pretty interesting. Donna Troy, there's a lot of things that you guys can do, you're just not doing it. So, end of my rant, I'm getting off my soapbox, guys. So, if you see this guy in your local Walmart, or any other retailer that you happen to visit, and he's within reason, I say within reason, anything more than 24, 25, he's don't. If he's around 20 bones, pick him up. I definitely think he's worth it for a nice display piece, especially if you're a Bat fan. So, with that being said, guys, I want to thank you guys for checking out the video, checking out the channel, as always. So, until next time, guys, this is Dave from Dave's Dimension saying keep on busting, and I will always catch you on the flip side. Take care.